Well, hello everyone. I'm Phyllis Pasley, Executive Director for the Missouri Alliance for Arts Education. I'm glad that you are able to tune in today and be part of this preview opportunity for Show Me Arts 2025. I'm joined today by a few listeners and by Nathan Orr, and I'm going to turn things over to him in just a few moments. But I thought I would just prepare some information that will help us and help you have a great, successful event. April 7 through 11 of 2025, Fine Arts Education Week, where we just try to inundate the Capitol and share as much as we can about the arts and the great things that are happening in arts education with our elected officials. For those who don't know, the Missouri Alliance for Arts Education is a nonprofit service organization working to strengthen arts education in Missouri. Um, and you will be receiving, or your teachers will be receiving, a copy of these slides so that you can view them at your leisure and access the links directly that are here. But we have a website that is dedicated to Fine Arts Education Week. So you can access it through that QR code there or through the bit.ly link of 25 FAEW. And it will walk you through just about everything that's happening that week. We've tried to put in there as many details as possible and just visit those tabs up across the top to help yourself learn about each one of our wonderful events that are happening throughout the week. This is an overview of the entire schedule of the week, of what's happening Monday through Friday. And again, Tuesday is our big day for our Show Me Art Summit, and it begins at 4:30 p.m. And there's another companion event that's happening at the same time, the Celebration Summit from 5 to 8:30. And then we come together with our student social from 8:30 to 9:30 that evening. On Wednesday, you'll have breakfast at the hotel. And then there are lots of Fine Arts Education Day activities. Many of them are listed right here. But one I'll point out is we'd love to invite all of you to perform as part of the finale in the Rotunda concert. The concert begins at noon and it ends at 1. And so this will be about probably 5 minutes to 1 that we would invite you to join the other singers and join us in singing verse 1 and verse 4 of America the Beautiful. A little bit of background information. The Missouri House of Representatives and the Missouri Senate are the two um, chambers of our state legislature. If you need help finding who your legislator is, here's a little bit.ly link you can click, and it takes you to your Missouri legislator lookup. You can enter your street address, and I've got mine in here, and my city, and then I press look up legislators. And when I scroll down, it tells me my senatorial district, my House district, my United States House district, and then the statewide elected officials. And clicking these links will take you to a page that will give you some biographical information and how to get in touch with them. Their contact information is also on that page. So we encourage you to find the legislator that is for your home district and make an appointment with that person. So you can visit the websites that are listed here that take you specifically to the House and the Senate if you want to learn about other people that are outside your own. And then this is another link to make an appointment and look up your legislator's information. You can find the members of the House of Representatives by going to house.mo.gov and selecting members right there. Similarly, you can go to senate.mo.gov and choose senators to again find those biographical pieces to help you make that appointment. So the budget bills or the appropriations happen in the Missouri House first, and it is required. There are 163 districts. They need 82 votes to pass it. And in the Senate, they need 18 votes to pass it. The budget bills come before these bodies and include funding, as I mentioned earlier, for the Missouri Arts Council, the Missouri Fine Arts Academy, and the Missouri Scholars Academy. So, the Missouri Arts Council is a state agency. It's operated under the Office of the Lieutenant Governor. And in 2024, they funded over 500 arts organizations across the state. And they had core funding of 10.1 million. The Missouri Fine Arts Academy is a 2-week summer camp for 120 arts students in visual art, theater, dance, creative writing, vocal music, and instrumental music, and it's held on the MSU campus. I encourage you to click this little YouTube overview when you get these slides. It is a separate line item in the state budget, and that line item for the Missouri Fine Arts Academy is shared with the Missouri Scholars Academy, and that's a 3-week camp for students on the academic side, and it's held on the MU campus. Prior to 2021, kids who went had to pay tuition. But since that time, we have been fully funded by the legislature, and we are asking for that always. This year, they anticipate the costs will be 1.1 million for 2026 for both of those academies, so all students could attend tuition free. And so we're so pleased that both last year and this year, we were able to help our decision makers set aside enough money in the budget to let students come no matter what their financial circumstance. So we are appealing to our legislators to fully fund the Scholars Academy and the Fine Arts Academy in 2026, because even though it's 2025 right now, they are deciding what the state budget will be like for the next fiscal year, which would include June of 2026. So just give you that little bit of background information about the Missouri Arts Council and the Missouri Fine Arts Academy, and that might be part of what you choose to include in your message to your legislator when you get to meet with them. So I'm so grateful to Nate Orr for being our guest speaker today. And here's a little bit more information about him. Nathan, thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing this information with our students. And I understand that you are proudly wearing your KC cap.
Yes.
And so you're from Kansas City. Can you
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about your background and how you can help our students be prepared to meet with their legislators next week?
Sure. Yeah, I'm happy to do that. Thanks for having me, Phyllis. And I know I'll be looking at all of you students later when you watch this, but I was hoping to see a filled room of students instead of these three amazing seasoned arts supporters that I do have here. But I'm looking forward to sharing some stuff with you, the students. So my name is Nate Orr. I'm a lawyer. I've been a lawyer for 25 years in Kansas City. Went to law school over in St. Louis, very familiar with the state, backwards and forwards. Um, and at the firm, I run our charitable grants program in the Kansas City market. And our grants program is exclusively designed to be supportive of the arts. And I'll tell you why we did that in a moment. But in part of that role, I have gone out and been an advocate for the arts myself. And I have gone down and done some testifying in Jefferson City at the state legislature, and also had an opportunity to do what you all will be doing, which is to go down and to visit with some of the state legislators and share with them your feelings about why support for the arts is important. And so I think, Phyllis, probably those background reasons for why you and Evie decided you might like to have me come on. I do think before I turn it back over to you, Phyllis, I don't know if this is a Q&A thing or if you just want me to chat, but I did want to share why our law firm decided to shift its entire charitable giving program to the arts. And the reason I want to share that is because I think it's an important theme that could be shared by the students, by you all when you're down there in Jefferson City. And that is that, we'd like to think that everybody you run into should be touched by and inspired by and supportive of the arts. So many of us, every one of us throughout the day, whether you're just looking at the sky or the trees changing or particular programming or fine arts or performance art, whatever it might be, everybody is touched by art almost all day long. And we would like to think that that alone would be sufficient to encourage people to be supportive of the arts. The reality is, many of the people walking around out there around with us, they don't recognize it. They don't think of it that way. And so part of the reason we as a firm decided to get behind the arts is because we wanted to tell the story about how the arts is so important to every other facet of life. So if you're meeting a person who doesn't feel like they're innately a big art fan, I can guarantee you that they're a fan of having jobs and employment in their community, and they're a fan of seeing business thrive, and they're a fan of um, finding other exciting things that might come to their community, whether that's concerts, which is the arts, but some of these people don't understand that, whether that's concerts or tours or sports. A lot of people you run into say, well, I'm more of a sports person than an arts person. Well, this is all intertwined. And what we recognized early on was that supporting the arts in our communities was a way to drive the creativity that builds communities, literally builds blocks by block and helps to restore communities, urban revitalization, things that attract then business. And then there's a buzz and business comes. And then all of a sudden, people from the outside are looking in and they say, I want to travel there. And with the travel that goes there and the arts are pulling these people in for that, word gets out. And all of a sudden, you find that you're hosting World Cup games and you've relocated three or four big, large corporate citizens to move into the community, to employ people, to help provide more jobs for people. All of that, we believe, because it's true, comes from the seedlings of the arts. You plant the arts and these other things grow. And that, Phyllis, that's largely why we overhauled our charitable giving program. And I think it's a core message to be shared with legislators. And I say that, unless you want to jump in with a question, Phyllis, I might just kind of keep going here.
Please
Um,
do. Please
I'm
do.
a I'm a lawyer, kids, so I just talk and talk and talk. So I, in going down to meet with the state legislators, it is important for you to understand that if they've taken the meeting with you, they're probably doing it because they want to be able to check a box, or they're saying they're supportive of the arts and they're doing this, that, or the other. You've got to really have an opportunity to get in front of them and to understand whether they're really invested in what you're there to talk to them about. And you'll be able to tell that maybe early on in the in the program, in the meeting, in the talk. I say that because if you're talking to one of our reps who may not be just a core arts fan, but is there and they're curious and they want to know why they should be more supportive of the arts across the state, sharing some of the things I just shared, some of those things might touch home for them. I think all of our state representatives and senators want to see the state thrive. I think they want to see, unemployment go down and jobs go up and business be good and taxes from those things generate things where they can repair highways and bridges. I think telling the story to them about how the arts are a genesis for business development and for attraction of major events and investment in our state is so very critical. And Phyllis and the team here can probably provide you with more data around that, but there's gobs of data that show that when there's a leading sort of spear tip of investment in the arts, good economic growth follows from behind that. You can see that in communities across the United States that are thriving, whether it's Austin or Nashville or Portland. Many of these communities have grown because of investment in the arts. And so I do think that having the ability to tell a story that's not just, well, I think it's important because I enjoy dancing, and how come you don't see that, sir or madam? You could lose your listener. I think it's really important to tell them why it's important to the state. You'll have to remember those people are there representing the state. You'll have a pleasant conversation with them, and I'm sure they'll be very friendly, but they're there for their job. And their job is to look out for the state. It's educating them about why this investment in the arts is so important to the state is critical. Another thing I think is so important when you talk to these folks is personal connection. So I think, especially with you as students, to be able to sit in front of these folks and tell them your story, make it personal. Why is it important to you? And that could really be as simple as, hey, I love working in this medium that I work in, and it is therapeutic for me, and it's helped me in so many ways, and it's encouraged me to find outlets, and it's helped me with my schoolwork, which is there's so many studies about how participating in the arts is so critical to learning and education. telling your stories like that will help reinforce the messaging, I think, to these state legislators that investing in the arts is also investing in education. It's investing in our workforce development, which again feeds right back into the economy. The one thing that almost all of these people can agree on, the economy. And I always try to find the lowest common denominator. If I'm out selling and advocating, which is what we do as lawyers, you need to know what's going to kind of close the deal here. And lowest common denominator, these folks really do care quite a bit about the economy and the tax base, every one of them. They might differ on the arts or social issues or other things. They're almost all going to come together on the economy. And so I think that you all have got a platform to tell a story that is better than my platform or Phyllis's or anybody else's, because you are students and you're living it. And so I just feel like being real personal about how it's impacted you, maybe your family, your siblings, and how it may have changed the way you approach schoolwork or just being part of the community, coupled with data from Phyllis and the team about why the arts are so important to these broader issues. I think those things can be really helpful.
Thank you so much, Nathan. And I know Dr. Joan Murray is on the call today. She and Dr. Melissa Cooper who've been working to prepare what the students will learn, kind of those data points and many of the other really great pieces of advice that you shared are a part of what they're going to walk the students through piece by piece. How do I tell my story? And how do I use data to support my story that will resonate with the person, the audience that I'm speaking to? So thank you so much. I'm going to open it up for questions for the folks who are here today, and see if Joan Murray or Evie Craig want to pose any questions to either one of us. And if there are no questions, what I'll probably do is just bring this part to a close. And then later I will tack on those tips and tricks that I told you that I was going to share at the end of the video about how to contact your legislator and those kinds of things. So any questions, Joan or Evie, for Nathan or for me?
Actually, Nate, I have a question, and thank you so much. I think in telling students to find their own authentic voices and to not be afraid to share their own experiences is really important. So one of the things I'd like to ask you about or maybe amplify on is I like to think when I'm talking to the students, when we're doing some of the training the night before, is to help them feel less intimidated. There really probably is fewer folks who go in more guaranteed of a polite reception than young people. Would you agree with that, Nate? And anything else that you want to add on that? I always say if someone isn't nice to you, you make sure you text your parents right away and let them know. But nonetheless, what do you think? Do you think most students should feel that they're going in with 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 legislators, no matter where they're at on the issues, inclined to be supportive and kind and respectful to them?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Evie. I think when you go to meet with these folks, have taken a meeting with you. First of all, they're largely going to be polite, even if they're very upset with what you're there to talk to them about, which is usually what I'm down there doing. With young people, particularly, they're going to be even more pleasant. If I was all of you, please do not be nervous. I know it's innate to be nervous, and you're going to be a little nervous, but you're going to get a great reception. You're going to see a big smile on these people's faces. You're going to have a great platform to share your message.
Yes. And that's my experience as well, that the people who you will be talking to, they want to hear from you. And as Nate kind of alluded to, sometimes when he walks in or I walk in or another person of a certain age walks in, they're like, what's their real agenda? That's kind of like what's in their mind. When you walk in, they're like, I want to know what this person has to say, because as Nate said earlier, you are living your educational experience. You are living, joining the workforce, joining the economic system. And they do want to hear from you, definitely. Joan, did you have any questions you wanted to ask?
No, I'm just really excited about it. Dr. Cooper had a meeting last night with her arts ambassadors, Emily and Lily, and it's just really exciting that there's so much focus on what the young people have to say, not like you say, people my age walking in with whatever agenda I have or whatever. But I love the fact that they want to hear from the kids, from their experience. I think that's going to be really awesome. That's really exciting. And Sarah's going to be working with them as they sort of chronicle, as they go through the Fine Arts Education Week. I think it's going to be really great.
Evie.
One other thing for the young people to think about, and I think this probably correlates with everybody's experience, Dr. Murray, Phyllis, and Nate, and that is, this is really an opportunity for these young people who are down there to get to make relationships with their peers across the state. And I would encourage them not to just stick with their own group. We're taking those kids down from Ruskin Heights High School, and I know that temptation. But it's just an incredible opportunity to increase your knowledge base, your influence by making connections across the state. Many of whom I can tell you, if you were serious about being in the arts, and I know these students are, they will stick with you for a lifetime and benefit you. So I would just encourage that to be one of the more important benefits of this experience.
Well, if there are no other questions, we'll bring this part to a close. I'll say thank you, Nate, for being a great presenter for us today. Thank you, Evie. Thank you, Joan. And in closing, just a reminder, look up your legislator, make those appointments. Questions, reach out to smarts@moaae.org. And we look forward to having you with us in Jefferson City on April the 8th. Thank you again for sharing, all of you, for sharing your words of wisdom.
Well, thank you.
It's my
Thank
pleasure.
you,
Thank you for the work you're doing.
Thank you all. I'll see you next week, Phyllis and Joan.
See you next week.
And you'll be there in spirit, Nate. All right. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.